Hey, Jennifer, can you hear me? Hi, Ramona, can you hear me? I think you're muted.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, good. Nice to see you on here.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I just thought this would be fun. See people's faces, feel like we're getting together.
Where exactly are you from?
In Mississippi.
Uh-huh.
Where are you?
I'm from Houston, Texas, but I lived in Mississippi and Bay St. Louis for 14 years. I have friends. My colleagues are still there. My high school girls.
Oh, awesome.
I went to Our Lady Academy.
Oh, beautiful. How beautiful. Yeah, I'm a Michigan girl. I grew up in Michigan, kind of right on the border of Indiana and Michigan. And
Nice.
I wanted to get away from that weather. So I finally worked my way down south. Hi,
Yes,
Christina.
Hey, is my picture coming through?
No.
I see you.
Something else I need to figure out.
So are you on your phone or on a laptop?
I'm on my phone.
I see you now.
Here I am.
And it looks like Jennifer's trying to, hers is still saying it's trying to connect to audio.
Is there a way you're going to be able to mute me, because my dogs are buttholes, and if they hear other people talking, they may bark.
You know, I'm sure there's a way I can, but am I that tech savvy with this? No.
Okay.
Let me see. Oh, we have another. Stacey Gregg is connecting. There's a little, well, we don't need to chat, but I guess we could, like if someone had a private question, but I'm gonna try not to use the chat box today.
Yeah.
I am recording this, so I just want everybody to know.
Okay.
And I'll let them know as they come in.
Oh, it looks like I can mute myself.
There you go. So if your dogs start to bark, just hit mute, or
Okay.
Lost my train of thought.
No, I understand. I could totally do that.
This is Stacy. Can you see me?
Hi, Stacy. We can hear you, but we can't see you.
Okay, what do I do?
You should have. How did you get yours to work, Christina?
I just touched the screen, and at the bottom it had start video, stop video.
Because you're on your phone, right?
Right.
Okay, so what I am is I'm on my Mac and I just clicked the link. Oh, wait, here it is. Let's see.
Yeah, I think they all should stay.
Hey, do you remember us from the last time?
Do nice to
I'm,
meet you.
I'm telling you, when he told me about working with the elderly, I wish he would come back. He just blew my mind.
John Capello is amazing, and had COVID not happened, we had him lined up to come back.
Yeah.
But everybody's taking their precautions. Maybe I can talk to him and we can maybe do a virtual thing. I don't know what his schedule's like.
I would totally sign up for that. I mean, between Sylvia Brown and everyone, no one has nailed. I mean, it was so weird.
Yeah, he was pretty amazing. His technique is definitely unique. But most everybody's is. But his was really fascinating. He was awesome.
How do you like the new location?
Oh, we love it. We absolutely love it. It's bigger, we can utilize more space for product and all that good stuff. So yeah, we like it.
Oh no, we just have one other person.
Yeah, I don't know. Jennifer just muted herself. I don't know if she's having an issue with the video.
What kind of products do you have?
Oh my goodness. We have crystals and we have stones and we have candles and we have incense and we have books and we have clothes. We have jewelry. What else? What am I missing? Stickers and oils and essential oils. Hey!
Services, supplements.
Yeah, a lot of supplements. So we have Host Defense, Ella Life, Andy Lynn's, Blue Bonnet, Michael's Naturopathic. Am I missing any? Andy Lynn, Blue Bonnet, Host Defense. Yeah, and soon to be getting our own private label supplements, but they're actually through Vitality Works, and we're super excited about it because Vitality Works supplements are in hospitals and in clinical settings, and they're essential oils. This always blows people's mind. I'm surprised I'm not getting in trouble for telling people this, Christina, but our rep let us know that Young Living, which is, people think is like the best essential oils ever created on this earth, they and Plant Therapy went to Vitality Works to get their private label essential oils, and Young Living turned it down and said no, it was too expensive. So they went with a cheaper oil. They still raised their price. So we use Plant Therapy, and I'm not ashamed to tell anybody what we're going to private label. It's going to be Vitality Works, exactly the same stuff as Plant Therapy, and it's a higher grade oil than Young Living, and we're going to have our name on it.
And what does it do? Because I know there's so many, what is it, the CBDs out there, and like I deal with anxiety and things like that and take prescriptions, and I know your story and everything about prescriptions, and people say it works. I mean, but I know that's one reason you moved, because you're really big on selling a good product.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm so used to it, because like if you have a panic attack, you take Xanax, right? And it works immediately. But if I could take something that would not have to take medicine, I'd love to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing that you remembered why we actually moved. And it was simply that, because we had a wonderful CBD product, and we had edibles meaning, like CBD edibles, not, like high edibles, suckers and vapes and the gummies. And a lot of the elderly people that were coming to us over in Slidell really enjoyed the gummies, and they enjoyed the lollipops because it was an easy delivery for them. And then once we couldn't sell that, or for those who did vape, we saw our people decline, and we just thought, you know what, we can't continue to do this. So that was a huge part in why we moved. And so now we have, oh my gosh, Christina, I keep referring to you because we have NanoCraft CBD, we have CV Science, which was our flagship product that we brought in, the very first CBD and the one that got me off of my medications. We have Cypress Hemp, we have Receptra, Chief, and then we're going to have our own. Again, that's going to be a private label. So my story is, I had these huge, horrible panic attacks, and of course was prescribed Xanax. Now, will I tell you that I don't have a Xanax in this house? That would be a lie, because I do.
Yeah.
You still kind of default to, oh, I know I'm going to have that big anxiety attack, and I know if I take that Xanax within 15 minutes, I'm golden. But my doctor will only prescribe, I think it's 5 or 7, maybe 14. I don't know. It's not very many. And I've probably had these pills for 6 months.
Really?
And so what I do is I take my CBD oil every day. Okay. And then I take kava tincture, which is kava root tincture that we make in-house. And let me let this person in. So the CBD that I'm taking is going to work long term.
Okay.
Hi, Brittany. And then the kava is going to act as if I took a Xanax. So in the heat of that moment, I'm like, I can't get it together. I start to feel it come on. I'll do my half a dropper under the tongue of the kava tincture. And within 15 minutes, it's just like you've had a Xanax without all the like super mellow side effects. It's a light sedative though, so you do get that very calming, relaxing. Dr. Melissa Watson, hi Brittany.
Hey.
Dr. Melissa Watson, who's a good friend of mine, and we do a lot of work together. When COVID first happened, she had a lot of people that were, wanting Xanax and whatnot, and they were also dealing with depression. So she and I got together, and she herself tried the kava tincture, and she said, you know what, she just started sending her patients over to get that, and they were showing remarkable results. And then it got to where we had to shut down, just like everybody else did. And she said, Michelle, bring me like all the bottles of kava that you have, all that kava tincture, and I'll have them here, and I'll have my patients just buy them here, and we'll work out the money. So to me, that was a huge testament, and a lot of people did very well.
Well, I have to come to your store because I trust you. Like, I mean, from everything, the abundance check, that was a real weird thing. Like, I was like, let me do this. And then the next day that happened. I mean, I was like, I told Mom, I did exactly what you said. I mean, it was weird. And I was like, okay, like, it's kind of like out of my, like, okay, but at this point I'm desperate. So, and it worked. So, but I do trust you because I know your story, and you're not trying to, you're giving something that works, that, especially with the doctor. I just don't want anything that, like, I know, and I didn't, when I didn't really smoke weed, but when I did, like, it would make me anxious because I could feel my heart beating, and then I'd go to sleep, and I was like, I don't like weed. I know a lot of people smoke it, which is fine, but it's just not for me. So I don't want CBD to make me feel like that. That's what I'm afraid of.
Right. So it's definitely finding a good reputable brand. Now, I love CV Science. Hi, Julie.
Hey.
I love CV Science. That was the flagship. That was the one that got me off of my medications, and they're still a superior product. But anymore, I'm personally using Cypress Hemp, which has a double kind of whammy to it because it has omega 3. So omega-3s in it. So what happens is when we have pain and inflammation, we have all these issues going on, which are the primary issues why I take CBD. Omega-3s just kind of give you that extra boost and the extra layer to fight that inflammation. It also helps to regulate your body, okay? So we know there's a little imbalance going on when we have these panic attacks, you know. So that's what I'm more using. Do I still take CV Science? I do. You know, I like to alternate, but I really love cypress hemp. And if you ever come into the shop, I can give you some literature on the cypress hemp. I can tell you all about Christy's story, who formulated it. Her story is amazing. And I know that that young lady is alive today to bring this product to the world because it saved her life and it saved so many others. So yeah, amazing products. And we'd love to see you anyhow.
I know I'd love to go because, you know, anything to get you off medicine would be great. And I trust you. And so we'll definitely make it's Bay St. Louis, right?
Yeah, we're in Bay St. Louis. Just
Hard.
Google us. Just make sure it doesn't try to send you to Slidell, because we have people tell us all the time
Okay.
that, well, we thought you were just around the corner, but it sent us to Slidell. And I'm like, oh no.
And well, let me ask my last question. When you start taking this, how long before do you notice a change? Is it
So usually with any really good quality CBD product, they tell you 30 days. Give it 30 days, and then you'll know if you need to up your dosage, or sometimes you have to lower the dosage, because with CBD, more isn't always better. So it's finding that Goldilocks, that sweet spot. But I'll tell you though, they under promise and over deliver, especially cypress hemp and CBD Science. Now I don't take Chief and I don't take Nanocraft. Receptora I've tried, but it's not my go-to. So I could tell you for a fact within 2 weeks, if you are taking the CB Science or if you're taking the cypress hemp brand, if you stop taking it, you are going to notice a difference, because you're still in that whole, oh, I don't think this is doing anything. And then I challenge people, okay, well, stop taking it for a week. And then you're like, oh, I really was feeling a difference.
Absolutely. That is the truth too.
It is.
Really?
It's like, it's shocking. You know, like for me, I got up out of bed one day and I was going to get my coffee, and I stopped myself halfway through the living room going, did I just get out of my bed without having to sit there and prepare to get moving? It was insane.
and it's all non-habit forming, correct?
It is non-habit forming, exactly. But I'm telling you, once you start using it, you're going to want to continue to take it. And we'll just wait for a few more people to get in here. But I was going to say real quick too, and I think this goes out to Brittany as well. Brittany, you have been on my mind like crazy. And I know that we chatted a little bit back and forth through Messenger today. And I know that you eat really clean. So here's another thing, Stacy.
Okay.
If you're not eating clean and if you're eating bread, let me tell you what, the gluten was causing me to have the most horrible panic attacks. I was going to the hospital. And this was just recently. I thought, I am certainly dying. There is something definitely wrong. I think I'm going to go to sleep and I'm just going to wake up dead, because I'm going to die in my sleep. And literally went to the doctor, and my arms were going numb, legs were going numb. I was having all kinds of like rashes breaking out on my face, my leg, and I was like, what is going on? My doctor did not even say anything out loud. He literally wrote down on the paper, gluten/arthritis, because I had been diagnosed with RA back in like 2013, 2014. And of course they put me on a plethora of medication, gabapentin, Vicodin, some muscle relaxers, whatever they could get me to consume, I did. And I was kind of really pissed off that for all those years before I started the CBD, which was out of desperation, because I didn't want to keep taking my NSAIDs, and I didn't want to keep taking the gabapentin and the pain medication. So thank God I listened to my own body. But then it still took me from what, 2017, 16 to now to actually find the root cause. And it was my body giving me signs all along. Look, don't be eating gluten. And, you know, I'd scarf down my pasta and my red gravy, and I'd be like, oh yeah, that red gravy is making my arthritis act up. No, it was the pasta making my arthritis act up, and it was causing all kinds of gut issues, which snowballed, which made me start experiencing super high anxiety, heart anxiety, and then of course, you know, other words sometimes like neuropathy and racing heart, which then throws you into a panic attack. So
eat a healthy, clean eating, no gluten.
Clean eating. I started out with just like the minute I came home and Google searched, because I joked with my doctor and I said, seriously, you want me to Dr. Google this? And he just looked at me like, yeah, stupid, just do it. So it's easy for us to accept symptoms, but I had to look at it, you know, from a higher perspective and really like be objective. So when I say that I hit every single one of those markers, it was absolutely, because I was like, well, nope, that's definitely it. So within, I think, a day, 2 days, I cut out gluten. And in about a week and a half, 2 weeks tops, I had that same experience of, oh my God, I just got out of bed and my joints aren't hot and swollen, and I can walk and my knees don't pop, and I feel like I have a new body, a new life. So for me, do I ever want to go back to gluten? Heck no, you could not pay me to. There are all kinds of alternatives. The other culprit is sugar. So I was consuming a lot of honey thinking, oh, well, it's not sugar, you know. Well, it does the same thing in your body as sugar. So then I was turned on to monk fruit, and then yeah, so right now we are no sugar, no gluten. We're actually pretty much off of grains, Joey and I. So it's meat and veggie. And
Oh yeah, I'm a horrible eater. Like literally, like I love junk food with a sweet tooth, you know. I mean, but you know, I'm gonna try it. I don't know if I can.
There are so many alternatives, Stacey. Like I was making peanut butter cookies with monk fruit and gluten-free flour. So, and then they were like super sweet, and I was like, oh my God, these are so sweet, I can't eat them. So I would have to cut back the monk fruit, and so I could still feed my craving and not feel like I was depriving myself.
Yeah.
And simply by eating clean and drinking at least 8 to 12 glasses of water a day. I think we're in week 10 of this program that Joey and I are in, that we're learning so that we can bring it to Mystic Bayou. Joey has dropped, I don't even know how much weight he's dropped, to be honest.
A lot.
He's dropped a lot of weight. Like his clothes looks like he's just hanging off of them. Of course, I lost my boobs because it's always what happens first. And but I've lost, I started this at like 167, 169-ish, and I'm down to 148.5. Wow. Just by eating clean, cutting out the sugar. I'm still feeding my body, you know, things that I crave, you know, like the peanut butter cookies and things like that. But I'm making them myself, and I know what's in them. I'm not deprived of anything. Matter of fact, I'm like, I'm full.
We need to talk like when I come in, because I mean, I used to be 105 and now I'm 39 and I'm like 150 and I'm only 5'2", and
me too, girl. Yeah.
And so when we eat, it has nowhere to go. And I've been wanting to lose weight and, you know, not starve myself. But I mean, you know,
I'll tell you what, the diets that are out there are designed for failure. There is no way you can fail what Joey and I will be bringing to Mystic Bayou, because we start out with the psychology first. And then once you know, there is no way you can unknow. And I promise you, There are food items that you are probably consuming every single day, maybe even several times a day. And you are going to be like, there's no way in hell I'm going to put that stuff in my mouth again after you hear what you were going to hear.
So if I come into the store, would you be able to go over all that with me?
I would be able to go over some of it. We haven't launched the program yet, but I can definitely give you some pointers and some information, most definitely. Yeah, you're going to look at dairy,
Okay.
grains,
Okay.
okay, caffeine. Caffeine is a really bad culprit when we have anxiety issues. I'll tell you what, I am drinking a blend. You know, everybody knows about this stuff called mud. I don't know if y'all have tried it. Is it good, Ramona? Have you tried it? So
Oh, is
Not
that
yet.
mud?
it's called mud, and it's like a powder.
I've been seeing it.
So
Yeah, I see
it's
on
all
the
over the place.
commercials.
So is
Yeah,
it
the
good?
commercials are everywhere. But when Joey and I, we were in Illinois on a trip to go get some products for the store, we stopped in this health food store. We wanted some smoothies, or we wanted juice. That's what it was. It was a juice bar inside this health food grocery store. And the lady said, oh, we can put coffee alternative in there. And I was like, what is it, like mud? And she's like, no, it's dandelion and chicory. I was
That's
like,
awesome.
oh my God, I love dandelion because it toxins your kidneys and your liver. This stuff tastes exactly like coffee. Christina, did you tried it, didn't you? Oh, you're muted.
My dogs, they were barking. I didn't want them to bother y'all. Yeah, I've tried it. She shared a small bowl with me and I love it.
It
It's
tastes
awesome.
just like coffee because of the chicory, and plus the way they process the dandelion root, they roast it and it tastes like coffee. And I put my Bliss all natural sugar-free oat creamer in here. It's like dessert. It's like a beautiful coffee dessert. It's so amazing. But I don't have to worry about the jitters, and I'm drinking it and I'm enjoying it, and it's helping my body.
Win-win.
Tell us about this stuff. You know, when you go to the doctor or the psychiatrist, it's just they're pushing drugs. They're not giving the
Oh, yeah.
alternative medicine, you know, or different
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. You know, sometimes there's an agenda, sometimes there's not. But I promise you, like what we learned in this program is doctors don't have nutritional training. They don't. It's all pharmaceutical. If there's any, it's very, very minute. So, you know, that's where we
I
have
have
to.
a question.
Sure.
On the CBD, can people who are diabetics or have high blood pressure, can they use those things?
Absolutely.
So do they have a program that you have to follow?
It depends on the CBD. So of course you're going to want a CBD that doesn't have any artificial sweeteners in it. You could use, oh gosh, like off the top of my head,
NanoPrep uses the monk fruit.
Yeah, and so does CV Science. So CV Science has monk fruit sweetener, and monk fruit doesn't mess with your hypoglycemic index. So, and I'm pretty sure Christy does too with hers. She's not going to use cane sugar.
So the people who are selling this product, do they tell you everything about it, or you have to read it on your own?
So if you come into the shop, we tell you as much as we know about the product, because you do have to be careful about some of the CBD products, because literally there's people making the product in their bathroom, in their tub, just like bathtub gin back in the day. They're slapping a pretty label on it and they're selling it. That's why the FDA got involved in it. So,
so they're putting really much bacteria in it, not safety.
Exactly. So, because you said you're in Texas, you're in Houston?
I'm in Houston.
Okay. Google Cypress hemp CBD. I think Cypress hemp would be very beneficial to you. Just know that with any CBD product, quality, I say quality whenever I say any CBD product, I'm always talking about quality product. it's going to help reset your body. Okay. So it's going to help with high blood pressure. It's going to help with arthritis. It's going to help with people who have issues not eating or eating too much. It's a complete reset. So you might be taking, and for sleep issues too. So you might personally be taking it for, say, inflammation. But then as you take it and over time, you may find out, oh gosh, my blood pressure's dropped down some notches. My A1C is actually much better. My sleep is actually better. So yeah, I would invite you to just read all you can on her website. It's Cypress Hemp.
And let me
And-
ask you, if when
and
you're
read her
taking
story.
when you're taking the CBD, and you're like still taking like I take 5 milligrams of Lexapro and I have Ativan and Xanax. Are you not allowed to take those? Like, is there ever any kind of reaction? Like
There are no contraindications, but I would always advise, because I'm not a doctor, talk to your
Right.
doctor about it. If your doctor's open to CBD, I mean, he might just look at you and be like, okay, whatever, you're just going to waste your money on that oil, because some of them are like that.
Yeah, he said whatever you want to try, because I've heard about putting this cap on your head and doing all that, and I was like, no, I don't want to look at a TV screen, and I don't want my brain to change. But he's like, honestly, Stacy, I don't know that much about it, but he's like, he's all about like trying anything that will work, and yeah, so I mean, they don't know anything about it, I mean,
Yeah.
and
The FDA really ties, or the big pharma really ties their hands with it. So some of the doctors even get in trouble for talking about it.
So would the CBDs take the patients, say that for instance they're in like heavy medications, does it take them off of it, or you would have to continue to drink?
So
them?
I would never advise anybody just to stop taking their medication. Definitely work with your doctor with that. But what I have found with mine, I was forgetting. So I had an issue with gabapentin because it was making me feel woozy and like I couldn't function. And but I was still taking my Duexis, which is 800 milligrams of ibuprofen with a stomach protectant in it. 3 pills a day, 800 milligrams each. So I would take one in the morning. I would have one in my scrubs pocket. I'd go to work, and day after day after day, I would come home and empty out all my pens that I collected, because that's what medical assistants do. And I would pull out of my pocket my pill, my lunchtime pill. And now it's evening, and I didn't even feel like I needed my evening one. So after about, I don't know, 2-3 weeks of that, I was like, ping, the light bulb. Hey, why am I still taking this? I'm obviously not in pain, and I'm not remembering to take it. And that's how I weaned myself off. But my rheumatologist, she was all about getting me to consume the prescription. So I didn't even talk to her. I did my own research. I, of course, had my friend Melissa, who's a doctor, that I could bounce ideas off of. I knew from the signs that I was having that the Duexis was causing other issues in my body. My lips were beginning to swell. So I knew there was like a little bit of a toxic situation going on. I was starting to experience neuropathy in my feet, and it scared me.
Yeah, because I take the gabapentin. I have bad arthritis on the side of my leg, so I stopped going to the medicine doctor because I just thought, it's a waste of time. And then him sticking shots all the time, like it would just make me waste the time of work. And so I don't take the gabapentin unless I'm really standing like over 8 hours. So I kind of drink it like 2 times a day.
Yeah.
But I'm trying, because being a diabetic, it doesn't help, and I don't want to keep taking, long time periods of medication. So I was just trying to find a program where I could wean myself off and get better without, codepending on the gabapentin, because I work in an art gallery. So, I'm on my feet almost 8 hours a day. And I'm like, okay, so I'm like you, I stick my medicines in my pocket. I'm carrying a little bottle of water so that I don't have to ask, for a break. But I want to, base on a program that I can depend on getting better and not worse.
Yeah.
So
So
when
can
we
I
saw
ask,
that,
can I ask you a personal question?
yeah,
Is the diabetes type 1 or type 2?
I'm one.
Okay. So that part you'll always deal with. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
But people who are type 2, either pre-diabetic or diabetic, type 2,
Yes.
following this program that Joey and I are on, people are reversing that and not being pre or diabetic type 2 any longer. But you have to take a serious look at what you're eating. And if you're okay with dealing with the pain and you're okay with, eating, for me, like it was peanut butter toast with honey drizzled all over it and a slab of butter on there as a snack, nachos and cheese, spaghetti and pasta. If you're not willing to take a deep, hard look at what you're eating and start treating your food as if it's medicine, which we should be eating for nutrition and not for our cravings. So, like I said, it sounds hard. It's not. And there's this whole psychology to help you get into the right mind frame before you dive into the clean eating and all that. So,
Right. You go through the processes. So
right, exactly. And people keep asking, Michelle, why aren't you at Mystic Bayou? Why isn't Joey at Mystic Bayou? Well, because we're learning these things so that we can bring them to you amongst other classes that we're in. But this one is the most life-changing, and we really we want people to feel as good as we feel. So this one's a huge one.
and something else that I think is noteworthy between pharmaceuticals. I'm not a doctor, no, but I have my opinions on prescription medications and the side effects. And so I have my opinions on those. But the thing that's important to me and what I had to remember was chemicals you're putting into your body, i.e. pharmaceuticals, they're changing things in your body from day one. They start changing your body. So prescription medications specifically for pain versus CBD, every brain has cannabinoid sensors in it. So when you take CBD, you are helping a part of your body that's already there. You're helping it. When you're putting chemicals in, you're changing your body and changing nerve passages, neuron passages. So
glad you
and
said
your body
that.
doesn't know how to process it. It's a foreign matter to it,
Right.
and it starts
absolutely
to shut things down that are the normal
deplete your body
thing
from
your body should be doing.
nutrients. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically what happens is these different receptors and neurons that we have, there become gaps in them, and the CBD, because it works to fill in those receptor gaps. It's definitely just much more beneficial. And who knows what toxins are in these other pharmaceuticals, but I won't continue to talk about that too much. But so I did want to talk about dreams. What y'all think of my virtual background? Is that dreaming? So how many of you are dreamers?
Me.
Well, a little.
Off and on.
To the point it drives me crazy. I just want to sleep with no dream.
Oh my gosh, not me.
Yeah, I feel like that sometimes too.
So
I love my dreams.
everybody dreams. Not everybody remembers their dreams, and there's a science behind it. It's actually some neurochemicals that we have going on, and there's a connection between people who remember their dreams and memory. So people who have memory issues in general. So I found that to be pretty fascinating. But I had wanted to talk about dreams for a long time, because if any of you know me, dreams are beyond super important to me. I grew up with a mentor, darn it, and I wanted to pull up her picture. Anyhow, excuse me, my mentor, her name was Betty Butcher, and she was an elderly, I say elderly, she's probably my age, that lived next door to me when I was about 6 or 7, you know, and she used to be a preschool teacher, and she was just like the coolest old broad ever, you know. And she taught me how to write. She tried to teach me calligraphy, and even today, sometimes when I'm writing, because I tend to write with my fingers, she'd say, "No, Michelle, go with the, you know." I still can't. I just still have to write with my fingers, but you know, she talked to me about all kinds of things. She talked to me about hypnosis. She talked to me about dreams. She talked to me about psychic abilities, you name it. And the very first book that I ever remember receiving, excuse me, was the dream interpretation book. It was about the size of a big fat Bible, but like wider. And I remember like carrying it around and sitting in my front yard, and all the neighbor kids would come together, and we'd be sitting crisscross applesauce, and we'd be talking about dreams, and I didn't know half the words, but okay, let's find it, you know. So dreams have always been really important to me, but you know, there's some science that says dreams are nothing. It's just sorry, I just heard a noise. My ferret, I call her the stinky weasel. She's snoring like
She's dreaming.
she's dreaming. Who said that? That was awesome. All right. So for centuries, people had questioned the meaning of dreams. In early civilization, they thought that dreams were the medium between humans and the gods. The Greeks and the Romans were convinced that dreams could predict the future. And since then, times have changed. Now there are many different theories on dreams, dream meanings, and dream interpretations. I mean, go into any bookstore, there's 1,000 dream interpretation books. So dreams are essentially stories that we play out in our head overnight, and they can follow a linear narrative, or they can be very abstract. I like all dreams, except for what was the dream I had the other night I was telling you about, Christina? You remember?
You have dreams all the time.
Seems like I dreamt about somebody famous, but it was weird. It was like, anyhow, I don't remember, but it was like, and so came into my dream, and we did it was, I could just rattle my dreams off. So anyhow, so in one night, around 95% of the time that we are spent sleeping is in dreams, and we can have anywhere from 2 to 6 dreams in a night. And again, the majority of people forget them. I forget a lot of my dreams also, but I'm fortunate enough to be able to remember quite a bit of them. So dreaming is a thinking process. You know, our brains are still thinking when we're in that sleep state, but you also have to remember there are certain areas in our brain that are shut down so that they can heal and rejuvenate while we're sleeping. So, you know, that's a part of why we have some like really weird dreams. Our rational thinking, I think it's the frontal lobe, frontal cortex. Our area of rational thinking is completely shut down when we dream and when we're sleeping. So I found that to be extremely fascinating. So so dreaming is a thinking process. In fact, it is a continuation of our thoughts from the day. Remember how I continually talk about how we all have this inner monologue, and we need to be very careful about what our inner monologue is throughout the day. You know, be mindful, be conscious of how we talk to ourselves. Also, with that inner monologue, you know, we're listening to it all day, but it's not like we're super focused on it. We're so used to hearing that chatter and doing other things. A lot of the time, that chatter will come in the form of a dream as well. Like you may have a dream that connects with something that you had mind chatter about. So Yeah, and it's the chatter in your head that goes all day long, continues to continue to talk in your sleep. And once you hit that REM sleep, that's when the dreaming takes place. Those thoughts continue, but now instead of being thoughts, there's symbols and metaphors, instead of words. So during the REM sleep, the brain is working differently and definitely different than when it's awake. So certain parts of the brain become dormant, such as the prefrontal cortex, which controls rational thought, while other parts are highly active, such as the medulla oblongata. I love saying that word, especially down here when we were in Louisiana, because it reminded me of the water boy. Anybody see that movie? This is my world. See how I squirrel?
See why you talk. Yes.
So your dreams are thoughts, and they actually are more focused and significant and more profound because your dreams provide you a metaphoric continuation of yourself. So there's a theory, let's see what this theory is, which describes dreams as a defense mechanism of our brains put in place to prepare us for scary events. I don't know. I don't get that, but this allows us to face our fears in a safe simulation, which that part I do kind of get. But while I was doing some research on dreaming, I had come across where it said people who experience trauma or live their life in fear tend to have more fearful dreams. And people who have experienced trauma tend to dream more often and have more dream recall. And I found that very fascinating because my entire childhood was traumatic. I had a dysfunctional family, like most everybody. But I was also sexually abused from probably earlier than I actually remember up until about 13, 14 years old. So I found it quite fascinating that dreams have impacted my life so strongly. But so our dreams are full of information, advice, guidance, and even warnings warnings we need to know about ourselves and about our lives. Dreaming is a very deep and profound thinking process in which we focus solely on ourselves. Through dreaming, we can examine our current issues, behaviors, and goals. We can come up with ideas, sort things out, and take a good look at ourselves in a deeper light. We can gain a clearer picture about ourselves and the situation so we can make better decisions. Those of us that are dream, I want to say dream researchers, but dream collectors, dream believers, I like that better. I know this to be very factual in my life. It's just whether or not we recall our dreams. And if we do, taking a look at what those dreams are and really processing them and figuring out what they mean to us specifically, especially when they're so metaphorical. There's also emotional benefits of dreaming. Dreams can also aid in creativity. Many songwriters, I think I pulled up like 15 different songs that actually came to musicians that dreamt about them. There was the Rolling Stones had a song, there was tons of people, but Rolling Stones stands out, the Beatles, and Paul McCartney specifically, his song Let It Be. Everybody kind of thinks it's this religious song because it's Mother Mary, came to him in this dream. Well, it was his mother who had been dead for 10 years, and her name was Mary. And he was concerned about all of the partaking in recreational drugs that they were doing. He was starting to become a little concerned because he was watching people overdose and die. And he went to bed one night and woke up and recalled this dream that he had. His mother, Mary, came to him and said, "Let it be, let it be. Let the drugs be, let it be." So I found that kind of cool. So dreams are basically stories, and images that our mind creates while we sleep. They can be very vivid, as we talked. They can make you feel happy. They can make you feel sad or scared. Dreams can happen at any time during sleep, but mostly in REM or sleep. But you have most of your really vivid dreams in the REM sleep. That's when you have your rapid eye movement and your brain is the most active. So are dreams true? Contrary to the rational hooey that dreams aren't real. It's just a dream. Well, dreams are very real because they can be real information. They have a real impact. We experience real emotions and have real consequences if some of these dreams are ignored, if they're trying to tell us something. So, I know, like for me, if I'm dreaming that I'm running, I'm telling my heart's racing as if I'm actually running. I'm out of breath, exactly, as if I were running. So, little side note, because I have to squirrel. I discovered this like when I was cleaning up the kitchen today or cooking or something. And I thought, oh my gosh, I used to always have these dreams about being in different homes. And it was always about the kitchen. And sometimes a home would have more than one kitchen. And it just dawned on me, and I forgot I was going to look it up, but I haven't had that dream or those dreams since Joey and I got together and we married. So it's the kitchen is representation of the heart of the home. And I guess I was in a place in my life where I wasn't necessarily experiencing that heartbeat of home. And I don't know, it just hit me like when I was cooking for Joey today or something. So of course it took me many years to have that come to me, but that's how this stuff works sometimes. So yeah. So there are 5 types of dreams. There's normal dreams, there's daydreams, there's lucid dreams, there's false awakening dreams, and then there are nightmares. Do you know what a false awakening dream is? Have y'all ever experienced that? Like,
you think you're awake and you're about wet your pants because you think you're in the bathroom.
Yes, and that's usually what happens. Like why is it always the bathroom? Like I remember sitting up on my bed and like at 12, like peeing.
Yeah. You think you're on the toilet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Or yeah, you think you wake up in your dream and you're going about your business, and all of a sudden you realize, wait, I'm still dreaming.
One of my best male friends dated a girl the first time they went to spend the night together. He woke up in the night and she was squatted at the end of the bed and peeing on his carpet, and they never went out. She was asleep.
We just talked about that this weekend. Remember Michelle, Patty being incoherent from having a really high fever and peeing on the radiator?
Yeah,
burning the back of her legs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what those dreams are. Yeah, except for, Patty's was even deeper because she was, running an extremely high fever.
Out of it, yeah, when your brain's not working like it normally does.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That's the funniest story I've heard.
Yeah, they don't date anymore.
Michelle.
Who said that?
Me. I remember we were talking once and I told you that sometimes I will have dreams and I'll wake up from them, whether it's to go to the restroom or I just wake up, and then I can go back to sleep and go back into the dream.
Yes.
And almost like rewind it.
Yeah.
And then start it back over and maybe change it. Sometimes just re-dream the same thing, but sometimes alter it. And I remember us talking about that, but I can't ever remember what exactly we said about it. But
so that is a great example of a lucid dream. So a lucid dream is where you can be very interactive in it. You are aware that you're dreaming, and you can make things happen. You can manipulate the dream. So
I can go into it the next night and pick up.
Yeah.
I want to make
Yeah.
myself dream it again.
Dreams are so fascinating, y'all. Yeah.
And
like-
also about those 2 dreams that I used to have all the time when I was younger. I haven't had them in many years, but you know, one was about the ocean and the undertow and trying to get out of the undertow of an ocean. And the other was about your teeth and growing and breaking off.
Yeah.
And we talked about that and kind of what those meant. But those were dreams that I had very often when I was younger. Now, as I've gotten older, I haven't had them. And I mean, I've been more in the ocean and by the undertow than I did when I ever was younger, but I don't have any dreams about that anymore.
Are those out of control dreams? You were out of control in those dreams? Losing power?
It was a fear thing. It was
Yeah.
a fear of something taking over me and pulling me under. And I kind of related it to trying to get away from something. It didn't necessarily mean the water. It could have meant any different thing, but in that dream is the water and trying to survive this tsunami of water coming at me in the undertow. And sometimes there were other people in the dream and sometimes there weren't. But it was something I had often.
Yeah, so since you haven't had them now, so those are specific to whatever your situation was at that time. So yeah, that's but you have great dream recall.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Now lately I haven't as much. I don't know why. I've been under a lot of stress, and it seems like the more stress I'm under or more anxiety I have, I don't recall as well.
Yeah. Well, because
When I
finally
finally
getting
get to
that
sleep, I
REM
have a hard
sleep.
time. I have a hard time getting to sleep. I have a hyperactive brain, and it just doesn't stop until I just cut out.
Yeah, I call that the hamster wheels. It just keeps
Oh yeah,
on
it
going.
spins.
Yeah,
It
so
burns-
we're
it
going to
burns
talk
up.
about some tips this evening about how we can get into a better habit of dreaming, how we can get into a better habit of dream recall, different things that we can do. Let's see.
Can you have an astral dream? Astral travel dream?
You can. Yeah, people ask there. Okay, so there's a lot of research done on astral projection, and the majority of it says that when we're in our sleep state, we travel outside of our body every single night.
I've been going to a lot of bars lately. What's up with that, Dan?
But yeah, I mean, we definitely astral project. Not every night, but we definitely can. And you can actually set your intention to astral project before you go to sleep.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I had an astral projection one time, and this is before I even got married, and I went to with Queen Elizabeth, and I was in the hallway, and I could see all the guards standing up with the shield and stuff, and I'm looking, and I'm like, why am I looking like there's a bunch of guards? And then when I went up, I saw another guard. He's standing at the door, and I kind of like buckled up his leg, and I'm like, oh my god! I'm like, I'm at the prince's house, and when I went into this big old room where they keep all the furniture at, and I was sitting in the chair, and I could hear the big thumps coming up the hallway, and I guess somebody said somebody broke in because they could hear that I'm moving around. And when I saw the guard, I kind of like ran between his legs, and I was running to try to get out, but I was trapped because I couldn't figure out what entrance I came in. And I said, well, if I follow where the guards were standing at, I can, get out of there. And as soon as I tried to get out, there was somebody other than the guards standing at the door, and they're like, we can't see anything. And they're looking all around, like these big, tall people were looking around, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna get stomped if I don't move out the way. And so finally I said, okay, I'll just take deep breaths and try to find my way out of where I came from. And I could remember, there was a little trinket that was flying around, and I'm like, okay, let me just follow that and see where it leads me. and it was a fairy, and kept talking to me like, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be in here. It's only for the royals. And I could hear it talking to me, but I couldn't speak back to it. So I'm like, okay, let me just follow it. And she would tell me, okay, we're gonna go this way, you follow me. And as soon as I started moving around, the guards were coming. Like, I could hear the thumpness in the hallway, and I'm like, I need to get out of here because I don't want to be trapped. And finally the fairy took me out through the door, and I'm like, okay, I can breathe now. But I couldn't find my body. I was like, okay, where's my body? So I kept calling my spirit, and I'm like, show me where my body's supposed to go. I'm like, I'm trapped in this dream. But when my body came back to laying to the real thing, I felt myself lay in my body. And it was kind of weird to me because I never had that before.
Yeah. So
it was just an interesting story to me that I've never told anybody. I was like, I'm in the over there with princesses, and I'm you know, thinking, why am I here? And what was the purpose of me going there? But I came to my reality that sometimes, you know, if we're trapped in our own minds, you're not letting these spirits come into your mind and let you explore to what's happening in the reality world, or sometimes you're being trapped by what your relationships are with your families or with your friends. So I kind of learned to let all that go from my past, because like you said, you know, when we're traumatized by something that really happened to us, we look behind it, but we don't really let the past go. We keep on dwelling on what is the physical and the trauma, but we must let all that go in order to move beyond from dreaming those traumatizing effects to us, and not being trapped all the time or fearful. We have to face our fears to let all that trauma go and grow on what the real love and spiritual world is.
Absolutely. So I love your dream because it was so detailed, and I kept thinking, oh my gosh, this is almost like an Alice in Wonderland experience also. And then that you had the wherewithal to really like connect the thought of I need to find my body. So when we astral project, typically we have a silver cord. Okay, the silver cord, this etheric cord, keeps our soul attached to our body. So there are times when people will feel like, oh my gosh, I can't find my body. How do I get back to it? As soon as they have the thought, it's like a rubber band, and it just like pops you right back into your body. So I love that you even mentioned you felt yourself going back in. But yeah, and the point that you hit was also, you know, not trying to live our lives being held hostage and trapped in these horrible scenarios that we've had to deal with, because God knows, I mean, it's already taken, or they've already taken so much of our energy and so much of our existence. Why would we continue to do that? So it's being, again, mindful and taking those experiences, maybe going into a meditation where you see yourself in that same situation, kind of reliving it, but being an outsider, and then saying things to yourself like, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't ask for this. You know, I didn't need to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, and going back and trying to heal that aspect of ourselves and showing it love. But the main thing is honoring the lesson and leaving the rest of that BS behind, and then moving forward. So,
can you astral dream? Like before you go to bed, can you wish for one?
You can. So you can set your intentions. I'm big on writing. So, you know, there are, you know, you can set your intention by writing it down. You can talk to your higher self. You can talk to your spirit guides, whatever that verbiage is for you, and request to astral project. If this is something you really want to do, because when you first do it, it's scarier than all get out.
Okay, I'm not gonna do that.
So
and there's other things.
It's one of those things where, you know, be careful what you wish for and be sure that this is really what you want.
No, because
So I would do research on astral projection, okay, before you even start to mess with it, and just know, you know, the different scenarios that can take place.
have you ever had dreams where you wake, like I'm in a panic attack when I wake up? It's so real to me that it's like I can't even move. Like I'm in just that fear. I've never had that out of body experience, and I don't want to mess with that. But because I mean, I can't imagine what I would feel like. But I do have very vivid, and I remember them. And they're weird things. My mom has Granny, her mother, come visit her. Unfortunately, I don't. But I know you'll talk about that. But there are dreams that just I wake up and I like take Ativan because I can't calm down. I don't know. My brain is hyperactive too. Like it never stops. You know, it's weird, some of the dreams, and it's like too, what your day goes through and what you're worried about, it really manifests when you dream.
Absolutely. So, if y'all are serious about your dreams, I would invite each and every one of you to have a dream journal next to your bed where you can grab it. Because even if we wake up in the middle of the night because something startled us in this dream and we're trying to get our heart rate to calm down and we're trying to breathe and focus and get back to ourselves, you know, shake the cobwebs out, you could be writing down some key points in that dream and then go back to it later and try to decipher it.
Those seem to be some of the ones that I try to go directly back into and rewind and rework and try to fix, so to speak, or fix or heal or do something to change the momentum of what's going on.
Right. So if you're fortunate enough to be a lucid dreamer in that sense, and you can train your brain to do it, but it's baby steps.
Hard though.
It's hard. Yeah, most definitely. But you can train your brain to do it. But yeah,
And
that's my train of thought. But you can definitely jump back in and then change things up. But visitation dreams are awesome. Like that's the best. I wasn't going to talk about my dreams just yet, but let me finish reading this.
Can I share one? Because it actually, as I've looked at all of these women, one of these women was involved in my dream last night.
Who?
Julie.
Oh gosh.
I was in a room with some women and we were talking and laughing, and I said something about living or whatever, and someone who appeared to look so much like Julie was standing behind me, and she said, hi, she was laughing. She said, like she had some psychic ability, and she said, you've lived 20 lives. And I said, what? She said, yeah, you've lived 20 lives. I said, this is the 20th time I've been alive. And she said, yeah. She just knew that. And I was like, was I as screwed up then and all those 20 as I am? And I still haven't gotten this better yet. So but then when I saw Julie's picture on here, I thought how much she looked like the woman telling me that message in my dream last night. I've never been to one to think about past lives, but it was almost like it was confirmed. Yeah, you've lived, you've been here 20 times.
Wow.
That's fantastic. I'm a big believer in reincarnation also. So
it's almost telling you like you were a cat that you lived your life fully, and then you came into a different picture or scenario of your spirit. So I kind of feel what you're saying, because most people who are empath or psychic, they will let you know what's on the other side of your outer or inner part of your life, and they can feel it, which that was cool. I like that story because you can interproject what you're feeling and how you felt at that time, but God is letting you know there's more life to you than you realize, and you haven't finished living those lives, and you need to touch more people than you ever thought. And I think that's your journey. And I believe that you have some kind of spiritual energizing, any healing that you can give. And that's what God is letting you know. He's speaking to you through other past lives, that you need to fulfill your journey and continue what that journey is, and don't let your guard down.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, y'all. So I'm just going to finish up reading about, we were talking about how some of us can remember our dreams and have great dream recall, and others are like, I don't think I've ever dreamt a dream in my entire life because I don't remember my dreams. And some people are like that. And it's because of the lack of shoot, I said this right earlier. Hang on. Norepinephrine. It's hard for me to say. However, it does not completely explain why we forget our dreams so quickly, but it's because we have that lacking chemical going on in our brain. And some people, it just keeps producing when they're asleep. So those who can have great dream recall have this chemical that's still lying there in the cerebral cortex. So.
And any prescription medications that you might take can affect that too.
Yes.
I didn't dream for years because I was on so many antidepressants, anti-anxiety, medicine to help me sleep. I was on 13 prescriptions when I went to work at Mystic Bayou. I am down to none. None, from 13 to none in 3 months.
Wow.
Get out of here.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Awesome.
Yes, ma'am. Now, not to say it didn't take some trial and error. I had to try a few different things, and I had to pay attention to everything. Everything I thought might be a side effect or from coming down off my prescription medications. I had to really pay attention and get my supplement right. But I have my supplements right now, the ones that I take in the morning, the ones I take at night. But I never dreamed, and it was because I was on so many prescriptions. I was dreaming, I just couldn't remember them. Now that I'm off of all that, I'm dreaming.
Your dream stays back. I love it. And your detox too. So if you're a person who needs to detox, these heavy metals and these other chemicals and pollutants and toxins that we have in our body too, if you're not a person who's like taking an abundance of prescription meds, if you're using fluoride toothpaste, not only does it affect the pineal gland, but it can affect our sleep, and it can affect whether or not we dream and whether or not we dream recall. So doing a good detox every now and again is a great idea as well. So let's see. So most of us dream about 2 hours a night, which is really crazy to think that we can have anywhere from 2 to 6 dreams in that 2 hour span. So things can become distorted, and we can blend dreams together and we don't even realize it. But so now we're going to talk about precognitive dreams, and this is where I get really serious about it. So we did touch base a little bit about visitation dreams. I want to go back to that real quick. So visitation dreams are amazing dreams. So if you've ever lost a loved one and you dreamt about them and you're like, I know my grandma was with me. I smell her, I feel her energy. Those aren't just dreams of recall. Those are actual visitation dreams. And you distinctly know when they're visitation dreams, and they're always wonderful. I always ask for visitation dreams from my boys, because I always feel so good when I see them and do that. So it's just such a blessing to have that interaction. But then there's also precognitive dreams. So precognitive dream is a person who has a dream to later find out that dream scenario happens in real life. And there are many, many instances where that has happened. So President Abraham Lincoln actually dreamt of his assassination. He actually went to one of his friends who was his lawyer and partner, William Hill Layman, and he described this dream where he was in the White House and there was a person dressed for death for the visitation or the wake or whatever they called it back then. And he, in his dream, turned and asked somebody, who died? And they said, the president who was assassinated. And when he looked in the casket, he could see his own body. And he like recounted this dream to his friend, Ward. And and then like, I think just a couple days later, he ended up being assassinated. Of course, he couldn't stop anything from happening because a lot of times these precognitive dreams aren't meant to hinder or stop the course of a plan that's what I feel is preset. But it's deeper than that. It's a way for us to be to get ready on a soul level. You know, it's a little signpost in our story of life, preparing our soul. Let's see, who else? John Barker dreamt about a landslide, and this landslide killed, it happened in 1966 in South Wales. A school was destroyed by a landslide, and it killed 144 students and teachers. And the parents to one little girl who was 10 years old, early May, she woke up that morning and she was getting ready to go to school, and she had told her mom, I just had the most horrible dream. She said, I dreamt that I went to school and there was no school left and everything was buried in this flatness. And she ended up going to school, and this mudslide happened, and this horrible mudslide killed them all.
It's almost that like the movie Richie Valens when he was in the high school. It just kind of dawned on me to bring it up. Like he was in the school and he would tell Donna, I feel like I'm gonna die in the aircraft. And passing after those that he went on the trip for singing, he passed away from the air crash. It fell from the sky.
Yeah, it killed the three of them. Was it the Big Bopper and
it was three
the redheaded one.
Singers, yes.
Yeah. You know, again, you know, we can have these feelings and we can have these premonitions, but it doesn't mean that there's a way that we can stop the inevitable. So, and I already told you about Paul McCartney.
Are you going to share your story? Because I was very intrigued about, I mean, I don't know if it's too personal, but when I read it, that you had a premonition about what was going to happen.
Yeah, so I was telling Christina earlier today, man, I woke up, today was just a really off day. And I said, I think it was because I was typing everything out last night for this conversation today. And I had to really go in deep and recall my dreams. So yeah, I'm definitely going to get into those. Most definitely. But I do want to talk real quick about how we can remember our dreams. So some good things that we can do to really provide a beautiful space for us is to make sure we have plenty of water throughout the day. Okay, so we're not thirsty in the middle of the night, which is making us restless. So we don't want to drink too much towards the end of the evening because we don't want to be getting up all night because we have to eat. But, you know, regulating that water. We want to make sure our rooms are dark and nice and cool. When the rooms are nice and cool, it's easier for us to get a good night's sleep. It's easier for us to fall into that REM sleep, and it's easier for us to dream. If you're a person who has to have the TV on before you go to bed, you lay there to watch it until you fall asleep, set a timer, because the TV, even though you're asleep, subconsciously, you're still listening to the TV. So set the timer. You know, like I set mine, if I feel like, it's so funny, so I'm like, I'm always going to set it for an hour. I might last 15 minutes, 5 minutes. And other times I might set it for 90 minutes because I know I really want to watch this show and then whatever. So it's good to get into the habit of setting that sleep timer. Try to be consistent about when you go to sleep, you know, and when you're going to wake up, because the more consistent we are, our bodies love consistency. So if we start reminding ourselves it's 10 o'clock, I'm going to stop doing whatever it is I'm doing. I'm going to take a ritual, have a nice ritual. Like I like to take a nice hot bath with Epsom salt and some lavender oil, have the lights off, and I have a little hockey puck kind of waterproof light that sits inside my tub, and I can change it to different colors, and I can just like deflate and relax, and then I go to bed. So have that dream journal sitting next to your bed, and make sure you're wearing something comfortable. Like if you don't sleep in the raw, sleep in something comfortable that isn't going to get all tangled up and bunched up, and you're going to feel like you're like not comfortable. A couple different ways you can set the tone for a good night's sleep and hopefully some active dreaming. And then, like I said, that journal, that notebook next to your bed, so that if you wake up because you're like, oh my gosh, that was like the weirdest dream, just jot it down. So I'm going to start with a dream that I had when I was 14. And I remember this dream so vividly. It's as if I dreamt it last night. And sometimes I'll get emotional when I talk about these dreams, y'all. But if you know me, that's just me. I cry at commercials. But so I was about 13 or 14 when I had this dream. And I remember recalling in the dream that I was dressed like I was in the time of Jesus. And kind of like how, with the linens, or like something like the Blessed Mother would be wearing, that type of garb. And so I was dressed as one of the women back then. I was very aware that I was female, and I was in this huge cave or grotto, and I remember it being very cool, even though I knew it was like super hot outside. This cave was very cool. It was very dark, and it was damp. Like you could feel like major moisture on the wall. You can hear drips of water. And I knew it was vast and it was huge. And there was a crowd of people in there. And I thought, what is this crowd doing? There was this huge commotion. So I worked my way closer to this crowd, and I knew I was there on a mission was another thing, but I didn't know what it was, but I knew I had to get to this crowd. So I go to explore what's going on with this crowd, and I see this crowd of people just like laughing and having fun, like they were in a drunken stupor, and they had Jesus on the crucifix, and they were parading him around, and they were like happy about his suffering. And I just remember just being so impacted. I choked up. So impacted, like, what? How barbaric, what is this? And the minute I had that thought, my eyes and Jesus's eyes on the crucifix connected. And without words spoken, it was totally telepathic. He asked me to help him. I remember like feeling fear in that moment. And then I woke up from my dream. And when I woke up from my dream, I was crying because I thought, oh my God, I needed to save him. I needed to help him. And here I just checked out. I woke up, and I didn't quite know what to do with this dream. Like I said, I was like 13 or 14 at the time. And I told my friend, her name was Gretchen. She was like, oh Lord. Anyhow, so I told her about this dream. And of course she went and she told her mother, and her mother told her to tell me that it was the calling. And people who have these dreams are called to a purpose in their life where they want truth about religion and so forth. And you're doing God's work in a sense. And it was so funny because, like I said, I was 13 or 14. And I wish I could say I was a virgin at that time, but unfortunately, I'd been date raped also. And I just remember thinking, my life is destroyed because here I had that. I assumed it was I needed to become a nun. And of course, in my 14-year-old mind was, I can't become a nun because I was not a virgin. And that dream affected me. It just impacted me so much. And I carried a lot of guilt and shame, like over this dream of not helping Jesus. And it's so funny how life does this like twists and turns and you know, because I feel like what I do today in my life is speaking truth about the Creator, speaking truth about God, speaking truth about Jesus, speaking truth about religion, the construct of religion and how it's been infiltrated by man. And you know, there's some deception, there's some greed, and just people needing to get back to the roots, back to you know, I knew when I was a teenager, when I was out on, I used to love to go walk what we call the bike trails out in these little woods that we had. And I would just sit down on a stump or whatever. And I just remember having these really deep conversations in my head. And, you know, I'm thinking I'm talking to myself and I'm working this out. But, you know, in all actuality is, you know, I'm having this thought process. I'm, in a sense, talking to Creator and I'm receiving information. It's coming through as my voice, but I was connecting to God's source. And that was before religion entered my life. And religion did enter my life in the 90s after my dad passed, when I had a significant experience with the scent of roses when he passed away. And that's a whole nother story, but led me down the path of Catholicism. And it was when I was so steeped in going to mass and all that, that I had this epiphany of something's not right. Put my finger on it, you know, like I knew I could have my own conversation and connect to God's source energy, but I was being told that it doesn't work that way. You have to, you know, do this, or you have to do that, or you can't ask for forgiveness without going to the priest, and you know, you have to say your Hail Marys, and don't get me wrong, some of that still sticks with me, although I don't believe that I need to go to another person, another human being, even though they're elected to be, you know, we'll say the stand-in for God. You know, I don't buy it anymore, and I know that me being Catholic, I'm more spiritual, and I know that I can connect. So hopefully in a roundabout way, that's some things that I'm able to do in Mystic Bayou and the different services that I offer, and even in my readings that I do. There's also another connection with this dream also to the Magdalenas. So I don't know if y'all have ever heard of the Magdalenas. I've always felt a connection to Mary Magdalene when I was going through my catechism, my becoming a Catholic. For my confirmation name, I really had to sit with it, and I could not step away from Mary Magdalene. So I carry the name Mary Magdalene with me, you know, on my heart and in my soul, because I chose it. And it wasn't even because, you know, she was what she was portrayed as in the Bible, because I think that's a bunch of BS, but just that she was a sinner, but she was forgiven. And aren't we all? You know, so it just touched my heart. So that was back in the 90s. And then just within the last probably 5 years, I met a lady who wrote a beautiful children's book about bullying. It's Toodles, and we carry it at Mystic Bayou. But so she and I, we were talking, and she just one day walked up to me and she said, I felt like I had to come in and see you. She goes, I have a message I need to give to you. And that is, I know you're a Magdalene. I was like, I think I fell off my chair. I started
God.
crying.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, what is this? And then, you know, like I didn't even know, but there are many people that connect to Mary Magdalene, connect to the Blessed Mother. And I have a huge devotion to the Blessed Mother because of the scent of roses when my dad passed. But so it just hit me like, oh my God, this is my purpose, you know. So it was insane. So I feel like, you know, some of you might be Magdalenas also. And I keep looking at Jennifer. So I don't know, just something to think about. So anyhow, all right. So that was my first dream, right? Really impacted my life, very young age. We're gonna fast forward to about the age of 18, and I know I was 18. I had recently married. My first time getting married, because I'm an overachiever with that. Remember going back to the dreams about the hearts and the kitchen, you know,
Yeah.
several hearts in the kitchen, or several kitchens in the house, representing the heart. Yeah, so I married 4 times. And I no longer have that dream. So, but okay, so first husband, I'm 18 and I had my very first precognitive dream. And I dreamt that I was pregnant. I'd never been pregnant before in my life. I would have no idea or any kind of awareness of what that would feel like to be pregnant. But in my dream, I remember feeling the soreness of the boobs. I remember the little butterfly movements in my belly, like little bubbles. I remember my uterus feeling very heavy. And then I remember feeling like it was different stages of the pregnancy all in one dream, of my stomach being really tight and hard, and like the foot being up in the rib cage. And it was so vivid. You know, I had experienced pregnancy and the feelings of pregnancy. So I woke up and I thought, whatever, what do I have to lose? I'm just going to go to Judd Drug around the corner and get a pregnancy test. And just for kind of shits and giggles because of the dream. And I wasn't expecting it to say anything other than I wasn't pregnant.
Wow.
I was absolutely pregnant. And had I not had that dream, I would have probably continued to suck down cigarettes and continued to consume alcohol, because I hadn't even missed my period. You know, I had no symptoms, nothing. But let me tell you what, after I took the pregnancy test, I don't know if it was psychological or what, but for all of my kids, the first 5 months, 4 to 5 months of my pregnancy, I was down for the count, sick as dogs, couldn't keep water, nothing in. And you know, I had to take medication to help with the nausea and all that. But yeah, I would have never even thought about taking a pregnancy test had I not had that dream. I also, within that dream, I knew that I was having a boy, and I knew that I was going to name him Cody. So the entire time, back in the day, back then, 1988, I don't even, if it was even an option to have an ultrasound to see whether or not you were having a girl or a boy, I wasn't even in my realm of thought. So I knew in my heart that I was having a boy, and sure enough, I had a boy. So then, this pillow's killing my tailbone. In my mid-20s, I had another dream, and I dreamt that, okay, so I have to tell you, so this house that I was living in during this dream was a very active house. I had all kinds of experiences in that house, from battery operated toys talking, where the remote was in one room on a different floor, you know, like crazy stuff. So in this home, I had a dream that I was in like a rolling pasture, and the grass was like so beautiful. I can't even describe it. The flowers were so beautiful. I can't describe it. And it was almost as if each and every blade of grass and each and every flower, each and every petal emitted a light, like this frequency, like it was beyond seeing it in our realm. And I just remember being very aware of the beauty around me, and I knew that I was running with purpose to something or someone. And as I ran and I went up the hill, Jesus was standing at the top of the hill, and the immense love that I felt was like, I can't even, it's incomprehensible. It's, you just feel like your heart just wants to burst open because there's so much love. It just comes right at you. And again, without saying a word, all through the eyes and telepathy, he said, you have to go back. And I was like, no, I don't. I'm going to stay right here because this is it. This is what I need. I need this love. You know, I'm not going anywhere. So like a little kid, I'm throwing this little temper tantrum. And he said, no, you are not done. You have more work to do. So you have to go back. So immediately I went back, and I remember waking myself up, talking out loud, crying and feeling so much love, just saying, Jesus is real. I knew it. I knew it. Jesus is real. And of course, my husband at the time, like shoving me, like, shut up. What's the matter with you? And as I've thought about that dream over the years, like, I don't even know that that was a dream. Like, I feel like I possibly died in my sleep, and it was
No.
an NDE, a near-death experience, because it was so vivid and I wanted to stay. Of course, I didn't, and I came back. So
I've heard that when people die, they don't want to come back.
Yeah.
It's so great. And you know, we get, you know, that you do wonder, you know, when we go, I mean, what's it going to be like, you know?
Right, exactly. Well, I can only hope that it's exactly how my dream played out, because I woke up dead, didn't even realize it, maybe. You know? So
Yeah.
So that was another, you know, pretty intense, crazy dream. And then in that same home, I had a dream that I feel like pertains to our times right now. And this dream was very metaphoric, but I also feel like there's a huge spiritual connection to it. And I was shown a vision of me standing looking at this vast sky. And in this vast sky became very black and dark and heavy. And it was so dark, like you couldn't see your hand was close to your face. And all of a sudden, the sky started to kind of pull apart, and it was as if it was being scrolled back, you know, from the top and bottom, scrolling just like it was being rolled up both directions. And it went from black to purple, and then again it scrolled, and the purple became very bright and blue and beautiful. And as I looked up to see the sun, because I could feel the warmth of it, when I looked, the sun was no longer a spherical shape. It was no longer a circle. It was actually the form of the cross. So very cool dream there. I also lived near Notre Dame, and I had come home from work one day, and I laid down on the sofa just for a minute, just to kind of, I just have to regroup for just a minute. And no sooner than I laid down, I heard a voice. This wasn't a dream. This is just something that happened in the house. I heard a voice outside of my ear, I can't tell you if it was male or female, but it said, get up and pray. Yeah, I stood up off that couch and I stood there like, what the heck just happened? And again, I heard the voice with more demand say, get up and go pray. And this time I heard, go pray, get up, go pray. And I thought, well, oh my gosh, the only place that I can go pray is like, I just felt like I had to go to the grotto at Notre Dame. And I went there and I got there. And of course, the grotto is a miniature replica of the Lourdes grotto, and it has the Blessed Mother as Saint Bernadette had seen her, and there was roses everywhere, and I knew that was a sign for me. And I lit my candle and I knelt and I said, all right, God, I don't know who or what this prayer is for, but whoever needs it, this is what I'm here for. And I remember being there like an hour, 2 hours, just trying to pray for anybody and everybody that I could think of. And really kind of cool experiences at that house, honestly. But so another dream that I had was I was asleep in bed in my dream, and I had heard a loud noise, and I had run out of a room and through another room and out the door, and the door didn't have steps. So I was like, just a, and I knew when I got outside that my son Sean had been struck by a car. And the entire time that I was living at this house that I was telling you about that was active, Shawnee was he's my youngest son, and he was a newborn, so he was still in his crib and everything. But I would have recurring nightmares about him being struck by a car, and it was making me bonkers, like in my dream he was older, and it was a red car. So I started, as he became older, I would like fixate on like, oh my gosh, be careful, blah, blah, blah. And I ended up moving from that house, and I had an acre of land next to my parents' house, and it was a real rural area. So it was my home, my mother's home, and then Sean's babysitter's house, which was the lady's name was Beverly, and she did an in-home daycare. So Shawnee was 8 years old, and he'd be like, "Mommy, can I just walk over to Bev's?" And I'd be like, "Okay, but when you're crossing Grandma's driveway, make sure Grandpa Jim's not backing out." And they didn't have a red car or anything, but I was still very, Shawnee knew you don't stand by the road, you don't go by the road, blah, 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 blah. And just always be aware. And so he did really good with that. But so now we're moved in this other home. And one morning I had it one morning when I had a dream that I told you that. So I heard the noise and I went running outside, and I knew that Shawnee had been struck by a car. So one day I woke up and I was getting Sean ready for school, and he was being really kind of poopy and crabby and acting all like he didn't want to get his shoes on and he didn't want to do this. And I'm yelling at him because I was a young mom and didn't know better and didn't show much compassion. Just, your bus is going to be coming, get your freaking shoes on, it's not that hard. And there was something really off that morning because Shawnee wasn't ever like that. He was always that super great kid that just, did what he was told. And he left. I walked him over to the babysitters. He got on the bus, and I came home, and I started feeling really weird and just kind of off. And then all of a sudden my stomach was sick, and I was like, well, what in the world? We had a little stomach flu, and just was off all day. And so I go throughout the day like that, and now it's time for Sean to come home from school, and his bus would drop him off at Beverly's house at daycare. And if I wasn't working, he would just walk across the grass and across my mom's driveway and come home. And I was just feeling wretched, just horribly sick. And Beverly had called me and she said, Michelle, do you mind if Shawnee stays and plays with Nathan, her nephew? And I was like, no, not at all. And she said, now they're probably going to go across the street to Nathan's mom's house. And I said, well, certainly, you know, she's not going to let him walk across the street by himself. She never has before, right? So I had no reason to think, you know, anything was off. So I agreed to it, and I sat down on my bed and I was like, God, the room is spinning. And I was always the type of person who, when I was sick, still to this day, I am the biggest cry. Like, I will literally lay in my bed crying like I'm 12, you know, wrenching my gut and, you know, rocking myself and just and moaning, groaning, so dramatic. So I'm never one to just drift off to sleep and let my body heal. No sooner than my head laid back. Well, first I had the thought, you know what, I should just go get Sean because I really kind of want to lay down, and in case I fall asleep, then he's already here. I'm telling you, within, like, it felt like a nanosecond, that thought happened and I passed out. And hindsight, you know, I feel like the angels did that, put me into almost like a comatose state. And I don't know how long I was asleep. I don't think it was very long. And I heard a noise and it woke me up. I went running out my bedroom, out my kitchen, out the door that went straight down, no stairs. I had a ramp on the side of the house where that door was because of an accident a few years earlier. So when I hit the bottom of the ramp, I knew Sean had been struck by a car, because everything in my dream was exactly as it played out. And I forgot to mention, in my dream, I kept trying to dial 911 on my phone, but I kept not hitting the right buttons.
Mm-hmm.
It was the weirdest thing. And then what happened was, when I got to the location where Shawnee was laying, I couldn't dial my phone. I kept hitting the wrong numbers. I couldn't even hit 911. And I was just screaming and screaming and screaming. But even like the clothes that I was wearing, as far as in the dream, I had like an orangey pink kind of shirt and blue jean shorts, and it was exactly what I was wearing. So that was Sean's. And then that was March 27th of 2021 when that happened. And it was probably 2 weeks prior when I had the dream, before his accident actually happened. And then in March of 2007, I had a dream that I was a pinpoint of consciousness. And I do this because I felt like I was like a pinpoint of consciousness above the location of the home that I grew up in. And I was kind of in the front yard, facing this field where all of his kids used to play, which was across the street. And I felt directed to the right, but forward. And the minute I had the thought of being like having that feeling, it took me to a scene of a road that I was familiar with. And I couldn't really see the entire location of the road, but I knew it was a road I was familiar with. I saw an overturned vehicle. I saw what appeared to be my ex-husband in the driver's seat. I saw Cody outside of the vehicle, who I knew had died instantly. And I was hitting the driver, like, how could you do this? How could you do this? And I woke myself up screaming, not both my boys, please God, not both my boys. And that's how I actually woke myself up, crying, screaming, not both my boys, not both my sons. Please don't take them both, please don't. And within 2 weeks, Cody was in a car accident, and he was traveling down that road in front of where I grew up and the road continued and went off into that direction. And it was strange because it was Easter Sunday, and earlier that day, my husband at the time and I had gone for a ride in the truck, and we came across this curve, this area that I've traveled all my life, and it's the first time I've ever said, I hate this curve. That was the curve that my oldest son got killed on. The only thing that was different in the dream was it wasn't his father, his biological father, driving the vehicle. It was his uncle Scott. But if you put the dad and the uncle together, like, they look like twins. So if you didn't know, you would just assume they were twins. So yeah, 2 weeks later.
What year was that?
It was in March of 07.
07. Okay, I thought you'd said 2027 a minute ago and not.
Oh, maybe
07.
07. Yeah, Shawnee. So anyhow,
Do you wish that you didn't have this ability, like these? Do you feel like it's a gift, or it's like a?
I feel like it's a gift. So, like with me, my thoughts, my beliefs are, and they're mine, is I feel we come together in soul family, and we make these soul pacts. Some of us that choose to reincarnate or incarnate on this earth may only need to be here a shorter amount of time because they've already ascended. And I've always thought that both Cody and Sean were older souls. You just know when your children are old souls. So they didn't need to be here, but yet they needed to be incarnated into a family situation where there would be an agreement, and I would have to be strong enough to allow them to come in and be here for their short time. I don't know. It's just, I don't really know how to articulate it, but
It's like we all have a purpose.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
and somebody's purpose, once it's been fulfilled, that's their time.
right. So they have a purpose in coming here, and then their purpose is tied into me. Now, what am I going to do with this scenario? So for me, it had to be a spiritual awakening. It had to be an ascension in itself for me, through all the crap that I had to go through. So when Sean passed away, I became the biggest alcoholic, drunk you could imagine, because I couldn't deal with, like, literally could not deal with my reality. And I didn't listen to TV. I didn't listen to a radio. I didn't enjoy I didn't dance. I barely smiled, because how dare I enjoy anything in life with my 8-year-old son dead? How dare I? And then I couldn't sleep, and I just, it's excuse after excuse, but I would drink from the time I got up until I checked out, passed out, whatever. I didn't think I had a stroke in there. I don't know for sure, but I feel like I did at some point. But once I had another epiphany, I was driving home from my favorite bar, which was also a bar that I bartended at. It was the American Legion in Bristol, Indiana. I was plastered, and I was driving home, and my car just stopped. It was a new car, new to me, but it wasn't like a junky new used car. It was like I got it from a dealership, and couldn't figure out why this car would just not move. It wouldn't go. And I know now it was my angel saying, hey, stupid, remember this thing that you're going through all this pain because you don't have your son? How dare you have the balls to get behind this vehicle plastered drunk? And what damage could you do and create the same kind of feeling in another family? And it took that thought and that whole situation happening to get me to start to crawl up out of the deep abyss. And in the middle of, like, okay, got my fingers on the top. All I have to do is poke my head out of the hole and I'm there. Cody gets killed. Well, let me tell you what, I didn't fall back down into that abyss. I fell down on my knees and I prayed to God and said, all right, I can't do this without you. And obviously you're trying to tell me that. So from this point forward, I am going to choose life. And I knew that I had to make life changes, and I knew that I had to be the mother that Kendra needed me to be, because she didn't ask to be born into this. And, you know, she's my responsibility. I need to just do the best that I can to be there for her and to not be that mother. So that's what I did. It was hard. It was hard, but you know what? I wouldn't change anything. As far as, of course I changed, you know, the scenario with the boys. But as far as the abilities, I know that I was allowed to have those dreams so that I could prepare on a soul level for what was to come. Because I just knew. But it wasn't like I was living my life like, oh my God, when's it going to happen? Because when it's a soul preparedness, it's different than the human preparedness. I don't know how to describe it, but I know that it happened for a reason. I know that they needed to only be here a short amount of time so that they could go back and do their work on the other side and ascend. And I knew that our plan was, this being as horrific as it was going to help me with my spiritual growth. So that's how it all played out.
I have a little 8-year-old, I mean, a 6-year-old granddaughter, and she has said for the last 2 years that she knows that she's going to heaven when she's 18 to be an angel.
Oh, I got chills.
Oh my God.
She says it very seriously. No, I can't, because when I'm 18, I'll be going to heaven as an angel.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yep. She's 6?
Yeah, she just started kindergarten.
Yeah. So, you know, well, I know that you know this, but when we come into this world, you know, the veil is very thin, and between the ages of, you know, infancy when we're born and to about the age of 6, sometimes 7, that's kind of a stretch nowadays. We toggle back and forth between realms. So I'm pretty sure she knows what she's talking about. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Is she scared? Does she say it like matter of fact, like she's accepted?
Yeah, very matter of factly, like, no, I won't be able to do that because I'll be gone.
She's so prepared.
I mean, even at 4 years old, you know, she was saying it, and it really disturbs her mother. Obviously, she didn't like her to say it. You know, we're like, no, stop saying that, Annabelle. No, because she doesn't even have the same connotation of what that even means that we have. You know, that we would never be here again. I mean, she just has her version of what she's knowing in her mind. But a lot of this, as Michelle knows, runs through the female line of my family. Myself, my daughter, her, my other granddaughter, all have some kind of abilities. And she's all the way back since my great-great-grandmother. And that's, you know, and the other one, my other little granddaughter's just 8, and she sees things, and she had to figure, she was talking about her pawpaw years ago, and he died before she was born. You know,
Yeah,
Pawpaw taught me that.
Was that, which one was the one that, didn't we say if like, I felt like she saw a photo of somebody, or if you put a photo of somebody out that I think that's the 6-year-old that we're talking about, or the 7-year-old.
That's the
one that says
8
she's
now.
gonna, oh, okay.
The one that sees shadows and
Yeah, because I felt like,
and people.
Yeah, I felt like if there was small frame photos of family members who had passed, she would walk up to them and actually say their names, and we all would be like,
She's done that
"Whoa."
before of people that would have been gone long or would not be any family members that she would know. Yeah.
Yeah. So
She would know or something about them.
Yeah. When Kendra was born, and she started to talk, she did the same stuff. It's weird because I feel like part of Shawnee's consciousness came into her. Like, I don't feel like she's reincarnated as, Sean would have been, but I feel like a part of his consciousness came back. Like, that was a little spark or a little gift. And she would definitely, say things like, there's no way she would have known because she wouldn't have been born. And it was always tied to Sean. Now, Kendra was 6 months old when Cody passed away, and we were living in El Paso, Texas one time. And Kendra and I were sitting in the truck, and my husband at the time went into this little grocery store. And I turned because something caught my eye, and I saw this person walking into the store. And I swear to God, this person walking into the store looked exactly like Cody. Exactly like Cody. The walk, the gait with his walk, the way the hat was, the clothes, everything. In the middle of El Paso, Texas, right? And Kendra, not even hardly she was talking pretty good at the time, but she had no recollection of Cody. She was 6 months old when he died. And she said, "Mommy, Cody." And was pointing out the window. I was like, "Thank you," because I knew I saw it.
Do you ask for signs?
I do. And anybody can ask for signs. So after a while, things just started happening. Like, I would talk to the boys, and I remember one time I said, "Cody," is my ex at the time, he never bought me flowers or anything like that. And it was my birthday. And I talked out loud in the house one day, and I said, "All right, Cody, here's what I need you to do. If you're with me today on my birthday, I need you to send me some flowers. I need you to spark interest for Kenny to get me some flowers." He came home. He didn't have any flowers. He had a 6-pack of beer for me. It was Amber Bock. It was my favorite beer at the time. But there was a card, which he would have never done. And on the cards was a bunch of roses. So I got my flowers. And that same day, I asked Sean if he was around, if he could let me know. And I had a photo of him in a small frame sitting on an end table. It was February. We were living in Michigan, so it was very cold and the heat was running. However, we didn't have forced air heat. We had the radiant heat. This picture came off of the table and dropped on the floor. So I asked for signs. So I would see feathers, I would see coins, I see pennies.
She does all that.
Pennies from heaven. Pennies.
I've seen Michelle get signs before at the shop. Remember that day you were fussing about the computer and you were really irritated and you started cussing, and about that time some frankincense flew off the shelf and landed right in front of her.
No way.
Yeah,
I watched it.
I want to come work with you. That sounds like a good day.
She said, "Okay, I'm calming down.
Mystic Bayou does not like it when I get upset. So
It's a very interesting vibe. And I was in Bay St. Louis today, and I had a luncheon meeting, and I kept looking over that way going, I want to go. It almost draws you in, and I don't know how to explain it, but it does.
I felt so bad. And I did too. I was like, all right, I get it. I need to watch my mouth and calm down because it's just not worth it. One time I had asked Cody, because I was seeing these white feathers so much, but some of them were kind of like maybe a tinge of pink, and I had a down comforter. So I was like, all right, you know what, Cody, you need to do better than this, because now I'm just thinking these feathers are coming from wherever. So I need you to send me 2 perfectly white feathers, one for you, one for Shawnee. And I want them to be perfectly white and in a location that I will know I didn't drag them in from the bed or, whatever. And I don't know, a couple days later, we were eating at a place called Ponderosa Steakhouse, which was a buffet. And Kendra and I were sitting on one side of the bench and my ex was on the other. And he was kind of a narcissist and always kind of fatty, grouchy. And he's over there grumbling about the food. And I'm like, the hell? What's the matter with you? What's the matter? You're at a buffet. You should be happy. And he goes, look at this. And he held up a breaded, deep fried chicken wing with 2 perfectly intact, beautiful white feathers on it. There is no way it happened. And it was Cody was so much fun. His humor. So I just kind of sat back and I remember going, thanks, Cody.
Has anybody ever had that happen? No.
I was like, that's it. That's what I needed. Thank you. So I still, like I try not to ask too much for signs because in my heart and in my psyche, I feel like they're on the other side doing their work. Especially right now.
Just talk all the time.
Yeah, it's not like, you can just like ring them up and, like they have something to do. And I feel like it's definitely for those of us who have lost children or loved ones during this time, especially, I feel like there's a really big connection. I can't put my finger on it, but I feel like there's a really big connection between this battle, this spiritual battle between good and evil that's going on in our world right now. And I just feel like they're so busy over there.
That's really cool though. I always say, Grammy, I wish you just magically appeared, like, where's the post office? Can I send a letter? But they always say that they're always with us,
Yeah.
and
we create the blockage. So ask her to come to you in dreams. But do it after you've weaned off of some of the medications, start eating cleaner, do some work behind it. And then ask her, I'd really love to see you in a dream.
Well, I know this is crazy, but I have seen I've seen my dogs who have passed in dreams, like they were there. And, and I mean, those are my babies and I miss them, but I have seen, and especially Fanny, who was
so let me ask you this. Your grandmother, is this your mom's mom and she was petite? Did she, because as you're talking about her, I feel like hummingbirds. Did she like hummingbirds?
She did used to put some that red, make it red.
Because I feel like I'm looking out and I'm enjoying all these hummingbirds around, just watching them.
They have a feeder, and she used to put it outside the kitchen window, and sometimes we'd sit at the table and we'd see the hummingbirds fly up and have a little drink.
She loved to see, she just loved hummingbirds. Such a fun little bird. So your connection with her when you see the hummingbirds.
How do you know that? How do you?
I don't know. I just see it. I just see it as you're talking about her. I just see it as you're talking. She
How do you know who your spirit animal is? I know I don't understand really how you determine that.
There's a couple different ways. So we actually do a guided meditation to help you find your spirit animal, but a lot of times it'll just keep presenting itself to you. So you might see bats a lot, and not many people always see bats. So I'm just using it as an example. You might see hummingbirds a lot. You might.
Yeah, I love hummingbirds and I love dragonflies, but
dragonflies. Oh my gosh!
I didn't see them listed.
So insects are a different scenario when it comes to spirit animals. So that's like a different realm. You can ask your spirit guides to reveal to you your spirit animal, your spirit guides. You can use a meditation, obviously, and ask your spirit guides to show you your spirit animal. Usually if you're in meditation and the spirit animal shows itself 3 times to you and you ask it in your meditation, are you my spirit animal? And if it responds, then it's your spirit animal. You can't push it. You know, some people are like, well, I love cats, so I'm gonna meditate and I'm gonna see.
And then what's the benefit of having one? What would that represent for you?
Well, they represent different aspects of ourselves. So, but for me, the raven, it's the raven teaches us to, no matter how deep and dark and how bad the abyss is that we sink into our own hell, it rises up. You know, it's kind of like the phoenix, but it teaches us to be the warrior, to find the lesson and to learn and to grow from the experience. So
Can I share my spirit animal story?
Sure.
It wasn't all that long ago. It was right after I came to work at Mystic Bayou. I live in Waveland, more of a rural area down Lower Bay Road. Anyway, it was broad daylight and the sun was shining. I was spending some time out on my porch, and I kept hearing an owl, and I'm like, it's broad daylight. There's no way there's an owl out. And I looked to the corner of my porch and there was an owl, a ginormous owl, sitting on top of the telephone pole right at the corner of my porch. And it just stared at me, and it creeped me out because if I moved, the owl moved its head. It followed me. And I was like, okay, I'm running inside.
That's how you know that's your spirit animal, because they
ran
will present
inside.
themselves.
Yes,
Definitely.
I ran inside and slammed the door and it flew away. And I was like, okay. So I went back outside and it landed right back on that telephone pole again.
Yep. So we can have more than one. We can have more than one spirit animal too. So
I've had turtles and owls, and then a
turtles
hawk.
and owls. Oh,
Wow.
yes.
Hawk was my most recent. Like, it's been like a good 4 times, and he comes over, and I'm just like meditating in my backyard, and he flies right over me, stands in a tree, and then flies right back over.
Oh my
It's
God, I love it. So
Yeah.
have you done the research on searching spirit animal hawk or spirit animal turtle?
I did a little after that, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
but not
times
really
you'll
much
find
on the hawk.
connection.
Like, now the turtle had that one played a huge part in my life for a couple of years actually. And like a lot of times it would be God, he sent me turtles literally I'd be like asking questions like I'm not worthy enough, like no way you're not talking to me, like, and then a turtle would just appear right in front of me. No, Brittany, I'm talking to you, you got this. Like, but what I learned from the turtle was the patience, and like it actually led me to a Bible verse it was Ecclesiastes. I don't remember what I mean. Like, I suck at talking. I'm working on my talking. I can write all day long, but
you are awesome at talking.
vocalizing.
So that's the verbiage that you need to change up.
Yep.
Yeah, I am awesome at talking. I got this.
Yes.
But no, my mind, I'm so bad. I want to tell like every detail that I forget. Like, I'm like, did I tell this part? Does the story make sense? Like, I don't know. Anyways.
Perfect sense.
I overthink things. Good night, baby. Love you.
You know what's cool about all you guys is, it's not like, we're Catholic, right? So, it's not like these hokey things, you know what I'm saying? Like you have you know what I'm saying? It's like, it just makes you
I
go
was
away.
Catholic. I was raised Catholic.
It just
But
makes
of course, yeah.
But like you're just more in tune, like with God and stuff. Like you have a relationship, a closer relationship.
Yeah, it's a growth lately.
Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. I get very, what's the word? What would the word be? About people's opinion of me in particular in Mystic Bayou, because I find it offensive. I get defensive because even though I'm spiritual, I still believe in
still
God.
believe in God.
I
Yep.
still have a devotion to Mary. But
Yeah.
people will say like, "Oh, you're a witch." Like that's a bad thing. Like witch is not a bad thing. It's
Right.
having knowledge,
Broader understanding.
right? Of you know, the wise women. They were called witches because they had more knowledge than the men because they knew knowledge about the plant medicine and you know everything that we've been taught is just so messed up and distorted. So it bothers me when people won't even want to come in or pass judgment
Yes.
on me in particular, my employees, or what they think that we do there, because my path in life is to hopefully create a space that's safe for everybody, that's non-judgmental, and we're all traveling on the same streams, rivers, creeks, whatever, going to the same source, unless you're like some whacked out, really evil, you know, whatever person. But that's the people that we deal with. You know, we're all going to source. You know, great creator, God, source energy, whatever that is, as far as your verbiage. And I don't know. I get defensive about it.
But you bring, I feel like very peaceful when I talk to you. Like there's something about you, like just the knowledge, you know, that you share. Like it's, you know, it's I mean,
Her energy, her vibration, people are
her
drawn to her.
is like I'm very calm. Like I am in so like want to do everything. Like this nutrition thing. Like it just like it just, I don't know, there's something about you that's very calm. For someone who's always like anxious, you just have, I don't know what it is. It's like,
I appreciate that, but ask Christina.
That's your spirit trying to rise up to her vibration. That's your spirit trying to rise up to her level. That's why you're seeking her vibration out, because that's your body's way of trying to get to that same place where she's at.
Yeah, because you seem so at peace, like, and it's so, you just, like everything you have gone through, you've accepted, moved on, rise above, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you, so many people in your situation with what happened could really, you know, not, you know, be addicted to drugs, alcohol, things like that, but you've turn it into a positive. And I feel like you're so at peace with things. And I want that. Like, I just.
I appreciate that. It was a lot of work and it was a lot of relying on God because, like I said, it was no joke. When I got the phone call that Cody had been killed in an accident, I literally made that choice in that moment when I literally hit the floor on my knees. And I knew, like, I've had breadcrumbs all my life as far as like my spiritual dreams. Okay. So, I don't know. I don't know, but I am at peace with it because I rely on God, you know, and I have faith.
But something that's important to realize, and a lot of people don't realize, and that I talk to so many people every day, is this is not learning the real you and all the parts of you and all the parts of life that you are playing is work. It doesn't come easily for a lot of people. And a lot of people want to say, well, can I take this product or can I burn this candle? Can I make this happen?
Yes.
It's work, and we're still, and Michelle is very human. She has good days. She has bad days. She has days where she's more gifted and then days when she's blocking. She's human. We're all human, and we're all just on that journey of trying to learn, but it definitely takes work. You don't wake up and decide today I'm going to astral travel from my house to work and come back. It just doesn't work like that. We've been we've compartmentalized too much and been taught too much junk that we have to sort through daily.
And we have this thing, you know, everything's at our fingertips. So if we want something, we just order it. Boom, there it is. You know, it gets delivered to our house. So we're in this instantaneous instant gratification, that's it. And life doesn't work like that. You know, we have people that come into Mystic Bayou all day, every day, like Christina was saying, well, I need this to open that. And you know what, if you're a person who wants to open up psychically, work on your abilities because you know that you already have them, everybody does, then you have to do the work to make your body healthy. You have to do the work to get off of the medications that are hindering your progress. You have to do your research. You have to whatever. You know, my thing, like when I was going through my catechism and I became Catholic, and then I went from Catholic to spiritual, ignorance was bliss, we'll say, because I just thought, well, Catholic is so mystical and you believe in saints, and that, you know, like, how is what I'm doing wrong? So, but I know, like, there's people on this journey that are being told that if they're spiritual, that's not good. It's, you know, it's opposed to religion. So, yeah, it's a journey, you know, we can't just snap our fingers and make it happen. You know, we grow and hopefully learn every day.
And the people that are seeking the knowledge and are seeking to ascend and get on a higher vibration, they're finding their way into the people's lives that they need to find.
Right, exactly.
It doesn't mean that we can fix it for you or do it for you or tell you exactly how to do it, but we're somebody that you can come to safely and talk to and be around. And it gives you the confidence to say, hey, you know what? I can do this. I just need to get my body right, get my mind right, learn how to meditate. There's things that you can do, but it's work. It is work.
It is work, and a lot of people, unfortunately, don't want to do it. Like, you know, the people that are the woe is me, always steeped in, I can't do this, and I don't have the strength, or my life is so bad, and I just, every time I turn around, nothing works out, and, you know, whatever.
That's what they're
manifesting. Our thoughts create our reality. So our brain, our thought waves become a magnet, and that magnet is attracting whatever your thought process is. So if you're thinking you're always the person, oh, woe is me, this always happens, if it weren't, like my dad's favorite line was, if it wasn't for bad luck, those fishers wouldn't have good luck at all, you know. And well, no shit, because look what you're bringing to us, you know. It's really being mindful of what we're thinking, and we are sovereign spiritual beings that have so much power. Why we would let things and
thinking
just weigh us down and hold us in bondage is just like, I'm not willing to do that in my life. I can't.
I have to redirect myself like multiple times a day. If I get into a slump or I'm thinking I've got too much schoolwork to do when I get home, this is making me stressed and have a bad day, that's the kind of day I'm going to have.
Exactly.
So I have to rewind and do it over many times a day. Sometimes in the middle of a conversation, I have to think about what I'm putting out.
You probably, poor Christina, I walked in today and I was just like 50 miles an hour with gusts of up to 100. I was like, my computer won't work. Everything I'm touching isn't working. The printer's not working. And and I'm watching Joey get work done. And I feel like I'm not. And I know she was probably just like, la, 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 la. I can't wait to get herself out of here and sage and spray some Florida water around.
You know what I was actually thinking?
Florida water right here. And as soon as I changed my thoughts, my computer got fixed because Joey was kind enough to deal with it. The printer started working and I was able to get some work done.
No, you know what I thought? I thought Michelle needed to reconnect with Mystic Bayou. You needed to come in this morning. You needed to get that few little things off your chest. And you know what? When you left, you had a smile on your face. You were talking about all that you were going to go get done. And you were good to go. So you just needed to be back in.
Way of thinking it.
That's right. She needed to be back in her element. And I can tell you that woman misses Mystic Bayou more than anybody can possibly understand. And she'll make excuses to come in there during the day, like, well, I was going to see if y'all needed anything. I was just stopping at Frugal's. No, Michelle, we're fine. Go home, get your work done.
So this is by far one of the hardest things, is being away from it so long. Like, it's not, as far as having Christina and everybody there, we're completely comfortable. We know Mystic Buddy's in really good hands. It's not being there to provide the services and to be that face in there right now, but we are slammed right now. And we want to come back fresh and new with full knowledge and just be like, okay, now we're here. Let's just do this. But it's turning away services to people that want Reiki and, holding off on the classes, but we have to get through this.
I want to ask, because my biggest thing is I have COVID anxiety. I'm fully vaccinated, but I'm going to still wear that mask. And I know you were having classes and stuff like that. And that would be something I'm definitely interested in. I don't know how I would do a guided meditation, because I have to do headspace. I have to listen to somebody, but it works, and I'd love to know what my spirit animal was. I'd like to be a unicorn.
And maybe what we'll do is maybe I can set up a Zoom for a guided meditation for people to meet their spirit animal, because I think this is just, a bunch of girls just chatting, having fun. And I think it's, we're in our own spaces. We can be very comfortable. But yeah, we could definitely do something like that. I even thought about doing classes online.
I would be interested in that. That would be interesting. Especially living in Covington too, and with everything going on. But I mean, that is something, like, I'm so intrigued at all of this. And
yeah, I'm sure we could do like some intuition exercises or something, but definitely meditation and guided meditation. And as you're talking about COVID anxiety, keep in mind, if we live in the fight or flight chakra, flight or flight response because of fear, it weakens our immune system. You're creating your own magnet. So just be cognizant of that thought.
okay.
The vax is a person's choice. Not getting vaxxed is a person's choice.
Right.
And we all just need to respect that, number one. But we all, no matter where we are with it, have to learn to live not in that state of fear, because everything that we're being bombarded with on the news about it, social media things are just keeping us scared, and that's not a good state to be in, because it weakens your immune system. It's proven. So
yeah, it is. It's just, it's the unknown. Like, what is it gonna, what I'm like?
Think about it this way.
Fear is fear.
99.8% of people get it and recover. There's something going on behind the scenes. Again, y'all, this is my opinion. I feel like there's something going on behind the scenes. And when I say we're in the battle of good and evil, we truly are. Don't lose your faith. If you're walking in fear, you're not relying on God. Okay, or God, source energy, great spirit, whatever your verbiage is. So be mindful of your thoughts and don't live in fear. Life is too short. My gosh, we need to have some fun. We've been locked up for almost 2 years now.
My mom used to say, don't borrow trouble from tomorrow. You have enough for today.
Thank you. That's a beautiful saying.
Yeah.
That
is a beautiful saying. That'd be
not one thing
t-shirt.
you can do.
I'm a worrier though, but I don't worry about that. I would go crazy if I did. I just have to know that there is a plan, and whatever it's going to be, it's going to be. So
it's the control though. I'm not in control,
Yeah.
Like, it's hard, like I want to,
But are you really in control when you are in control?
No, I mean, whatever's going to happen is going to happen, but I'm going to control it to happen. Like, it's just like, it's hard. They say, let go and let God. It's very hard for me to do that. Like,
are you healthy?
Yes.
For the most part?
I could be much more healthier.
Oh gosh, we all could, yeah.
I like, eating, just, I overthink a lot. Like I overanalyze, like I'll get in this cycle and it's all to do with the anxiety. And that's why I want to be at peace. Like I just want to go with the flow.
You're in charge of that. You are absolutely in charge of that. So you are the only one that's creating the blockage from that not happening. Because as long as you believe you can't change it, as long as that's your thought, you're right. Whether you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right. Either way.
Journaling and shadow work, that fear is your fear shadow self. And you've got to get to the root of why you have a fear of not being in control. What has caused you to fear not being in control?
Before you say anything, something hit me. So did something happen around the age of 9? Because 9 hit me as she was saying that caused you to realize you need to control. It could have been, maybe you saw a family argument. It could have been some trauma that you went through, but I feel like it was around 9 years old, you made a shift where you started to realize, if I can control things.
I don't know if it was then, but I just know, like my mom, like my dad, like I think he has a dark soul, to be honest with you. And I was never physically abused, but I was emotionally abused. Like I used to be a softball player, and if I didn't practice right, I'd have to run. And if I didn't run fast enough, he was going to throw softballs at my leg, and I would come home crying. Yeah. And
so you walked on eggshells your entire life.
Yeah. And
so fear is your foundation.
Yes. But I don't want to blame him. Like I have forgiven him, and though we don't have a relationship, like I believe we're all going to meet our maker, and that, but I have forgiven him because I know he's not right. And, but my mom would say I would hyperventilate as a kid. Like I didn't want to go to his house.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But I don't want to use that as an excuse, but I guess
I would love.
No, you can't use it as an excuse. No. This has to do with you, not him.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not an excuse blaming him.
It's not an excuse. But he set your foundation, and I would love to do some emotional freedom tapping with you.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, that's something that we could do on a Zoom as well, to help you kind of shift some of that, because there are people who can do shadow work a certain way, and there are people who can't do shadow work a certain way. So I don't know. I feel like it's going to have to be a more of a shift of energy and giving you a little bit more control over it. What did you think about that, Christina? You think tapping for her situation?
Absolutely, because she needs to start redirecting the thing in her mind and what's causing that, and tapping was definitely.
And going back to that child you, when those scenarios were happening, and there are ways that we can get you to push through that blockage and to change up your thinking about it. So
it's like going back and empowering that child with the knowledge that they need to push forward and come out of it with something positive.
I do need that positive, because I do have a lot of negative thinking, like what's going to happen, or you know what I'm saying,
and it's just child.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm totally open to that. And it's weird too. Like, how I found you was through Ashley. I think, did she do your social media?
Yes.
So that's how. Okay. So we worked together for a short time at the Humane Society.
Yes.
she that's how this, isn't it weird how it all comes together?
That's
you know?
awesome. That's really awesome.
And so, yeah, I mean,
There are no coincidences.
No.
People find each other when we need to find each other. So
Yep.
we'll definitely stay in touch. And
yeah.
I think I'll definitely set up a Zoom where, you know, whoever wants to join in, I'll set it up the same way. Just message me and then I'll send you the link. Because I thought, man, if I put that link out on Facebook,
Could be
what
a
if I get
lot.
like all kind of people in here that are just like naysayers and, you know, whatever. And what if there's like 500 people, which would be awesome. But
I
yeah.
definitely like this better than the YouTube.
Me
we did
too.
last.
It's more comfortable. It's more real time. And we're going to see how it does with cards. So I'm actually using a new deck that I absolutely like. And it's Eternal Crystals Oracle card. This is the little book. So there's only, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, a few of you on here. So I know a couple of the girls had to tuck out, but, or duck out, I said tuck out. I can't even talk right. Like my texts are very, you never know what you're gonna get.
I was talking to somebody about this in a group earlier, about increasing dreams and increasing visitations, and over the last couple of weeks. But I didn't sleep at all last night. And I was talking to somebody in the group and they were like, okay, last night was the new moon. How did I forget the new moon?
We both forgot the new moon.
Last night was the new moon. I didn't sleep worth a crap. And I've been just increasingly over the last several weeks been having more dreams and more visitations and more light bulbs going off. And it's us getting into shorter days, and we're coming into October.
The fall equinox.
Yes. So it's all making sense now why all this is happening so much over the last, it's all making sense to me.
So that was probably contributing to my off mood today. And everything.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Because
I've been off for like 2 days. Real long.
Yeah.
Yeah, the moon phase is
I
definitely
had
affecting
still
sleep.
hurricane guests through today since the day before the hurricane. And then I found out last night their power was on and they were still here. And I sent my husband's family. And
that was them sucking off of your energy.
Yeah, they were sucking my energy right out. And I sent my husband a message. Well, I talked to him this morning. I said, okay, something has to go. And it's either them or me. Because if I come home today from my luncheon, they're still here, then I'm going to be leaving. Well, what am I supposed to do? I think you need to explicitly tell them. They don't get the hints. Like I turned the air down to 74 when I left, so it'd be hot, and because they were sleeping all day. And then he said, okay, I won't buy beer because they're drinking all night and sleeping all day. And I'm like, good. So we just cut off all their resources, and they packed up and left and went to their mama's house in Fairhope. I'm like, see ya, Felicia. I was over it.
Bye, Felicia.
Oh my gosh. You know, they say guests are like fish. You know, fish go bad in 3 days. So.
Yeah. I had to wear a bra for a week and a half.
That's horrible. In your own home. Yeah.
Yes, that's just it is torture.
Oh my gosh.
When you're an empty nester and you can just do what you want to.
And
these people
still didn't go home. They went and lived somewhere else.
Yes, and his power had been on already. They live in the city in New Orleans. This time his daughter and her boyfriend and their cat and my 2 weenie dogs and a grumpy dago husband and myself. And I was doing all the cooking, and she would help with some cleaning, and he helped do some stuff in the yard. And, you know, it was fine. And I was good with it. And I would have been good with it for another week if I didn't find out their power was on. I'm like, who does that? Go home.
All right.
So Tony said, I've got it.
Who wants the first reading?
I do. I'm always willing to be the first.
Penny.
She's going to say something like, Oh, I see your next days are going to be very calm.
Because your guests have left.
Comfortable.
Your guests have left. In your future. Okay.
Heaven forbid if there's another hurricane, I'm leaving. I'm going.
See, that was an experience. I don't know that I'll ever leave for another one unless I know it's a direct hit. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start laying the cards down, and then you just tell me when to stop. I'm going to start right now.
Okay. Stop.
Okay. So I have a stack of cards in my left hand, and I have one card in my right hand. Do you want the card in the left hand or the right hand?
The left.
So I pick the top card. And you got amethyst. This does not surprise me. It's all about intuition, your third eye chakra. I mean, you are so very intuitive. So I'm actually going to go to the book. And while this print is little, your intuition is very strong right now. Notice any intuitive feelings or visions that you may be experiencing, and trust in your intuition, because this is your inner self, your spirit guides, and your angels connecting with you. They offer guidance and valuable insight into your life. Take time today to focus on peace and tranquility as you relax, because your people are gone. Take time, when I lost my spot, I had to clown around. To relax. You will feel the answers to your questions coming forward a lot more clearly. Also, it's a good time to join a meditation group, attend a spiritual workshop, or delve into a spiritual matter that interests you. This will help you to reconnect with your spirit guides and your angels. Nurturing your intuitive connections will bring about self-healing on many levels, and will also enhance your capacity to help others heal through words, energy, and even through hands-on healing modality. Amethyst is the birthstone of February. Drawing this card indicates that next February may be a significant month for you. Amethyst is associated with the third eye chakra, which relates to your intuition. It can also be very useful in helping you heal any past hurts. Harness the power of the amethyst to reconnect with your intuition today. That was an excellent card for you.
Yeah, that was nice.
All right, who's next?
I'll go.
All right, Stacy.
Okay.
Let me shuffle these cards up. All right, same thing. So when I start laying the cards down, you just tell me when to stop. I'm going to start.
Stop.
Okay, right hand or left hand?
The big pack of hands with the
Okay.
one cards.
So I am going to pull that card. It is lapis lazuli. Problems resolved. It connects to the third eye and the throat chakra. So it's asking you to speak your truth, live your life for you and not for others, first and foremost, and resolving problems. So let's get in the book. If you've been feeling stuck, stagnant, or as though life is bringing you one problem after another, lapis lazuli is here to help you. Drawing this card indicates that things around you are about to transform. There is positive energy coming to you that will help you let go of anything from your past or present that may be holding you back. As you dwell less on matters in your past, you will begin to feel a surge of a new transformative energy. It is time now for you to focus on your strengths, not your weaknesses. You have an incredible power that you can get through any hard times. Remember that you are not alone. Your spirit guides and your angels and past loved ones are also with you, helping you. Try to stay positive and focus on your goals. Keep charging ahead with your hopes and dreams. Not to get too distracted by other people's energies, opinions, and problems. Lapis lazuli is associated with throat chakra. Its energy helps you to communicate clearly. It also is associated with the third eye, which helps you recognize and helps you with your intuition. So to me, that is everything we just talked about, you know.
Yes.
And
There's your Grammy telling you that she's
Yeah.
with you. There's your song.
and specifically, loved ones on the other side are there to help you. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
how it happens.
That's why she came through with the hummingbirds today, so that you would know. Because in the beginning you said, "Oh, she doesn't come to me." She came to you today through the hummingbirds, with me seeing that vision. So she's around you, most definitely.
That was really weird how we just talked about going through the. Okay, I'm getting goosebumps again, like the last time.
That's how it happens. That's how it happens. You just gotta pay attention and
Shows the
listen.
truth. All right, who's next?
I will always take a crystal card.
All right, Christina, let me throw these other cards up in here too. I thought this would be a cool deck to have at the shop, to have people, you know, that are like, well, I don't know what crystal I should get today.
Absolutely.
Oh, that would be cool.
All right, Christina, same thing. I'm gonna start laying the cards down, and you just tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay, right or left?
Left.
This one?
Yes.
The big stack?
The big stack.
She is still like past loved ones and root chakra. So tells me there needs to be some grounding going on. Let's see what it says.
Which one was it?
The number on the card is 11.
Yes.
So she is still like.
Okay.
All right. Choose to Light has appeared to let you know how loved and protected you are by your past loved ones. They are always with you, consistently and constantly looking after you and your family. They wish for you to clear any feelings of sadness or of guilt. It's also time for you to move forward and know that everything is going to be okay. Your past loved ones are trying to communicate with you to let you know that they are okay and that they are very happy. They are sending you signs to confirm that they are still around you. In order to recognize and receive these signs, you must have an open heart and an open mind to them. They can be in different forms. You might receive a physical sensation like a tingling in your hair or feeling someone is near you when there is no one physically there. You might also notice nature-based signs such as birds, butterflies, or dragonflies, which come up unusually close to you. Or you might find an electrical device in your home or in your office acting up, switching themselves on and off randomly. Take note of these signs. They are not mere coincidences. Open yourself to the possibility that your connection to your past loved ones remains intact in different forms, and their love for you is eternal. And it's so funny because the whole time I'm reading that, like, I was thinking about your stepdad or your, you know,
My foster dad.
foster dad. He's passed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he comes around you a lot. Do you feel
Well,
it?
this is the third time since June where it's been hit home. Hey, we're here. I had the customer that I had never met before that couldn't leave the store until she gave me a message from my grandmother. And then Alicia at the mediumship gallery just walked up and started telling me about ancestors that I didn't even know that are constantly around me.
Yeah.
Wow.
This one specifically, I feel your foster father's energy. So a couple things in here triggered some thoughts. So the other day I was taking a walk. Jimmy and I are starting to walk in the mornings. It's the only exercise we do. And we get like 4,000 steps in. It's not even much. But I kept seeing these beautiful dragonflies. Like I kept seeing this orange dragonfly and this beautiful blue dragonfly. And this beautiful blue dragonfly landed on a limb on a bush. right along the sidewalk where we were walking. So I asked the beautiful dragonfly, can I please take a picture of you? And it stayed still while I fumbled with my camera to actually get it to camera and all this stuff. And I took its picture. And the whole time it was like moving its head, like looking at me. So I asked it, I said, can I touch you? Honest to God, I wish Joey would have videoed
That's
it.
crazy you said that. I
was
did that the
kidding.
other day.
I was
I pet
petting
one.
wing and it didn't move, it didn't flinch, it just kept looking at me like.
That's so cool.
And then the other day we were out on the boat, Christina and her wife Patty were with us. And I said, I have got I can't shake this feeling all day, but I like feel like my brother is with me. My oldest brother who passed away in 2011. I just feel him all around me. I can't describe it. And about that same time, Patty said, look, it's a shark. But it was a dolphin. And then it dawned on me, that was my sign because my brother loved dolphins. He used to collect dolphins. And his cremated remains were dumped in the Gulf of Mexico over by Tampa, Florida. So it was like,
that's amazing.
So.
And we saw dragonflies that day that were as big as birds.
We did, didn't we?
Yes, all day.
Oh, signs all around us, y'all. We just have to be open to them. All right, Brittany or Jennifer? Brittany?
I'll
Jennifer.
go ahead.
All right, Brittany.